My name's Eric Miller. I'm a professor in the transportation section of the Department of Civil Engineering of the University of Toronto. My main area of research has to do with modeling, trying to understand and model spatial behaviors in cities. I mean, that starts with travel behavior. I'm interested in modeling who travels, where, when, by what mode, for what purposes. But in order to understand that, we have to also understand where they live, where they work, how many cars they own. So I'm interested in modeling and simulating their behavior over time in space within cities. So we've been, in my own work, for a number of years now, we've been developing what we call agent-based micro-simulation models, where we actually take the urban region and we create a synthetic representative population consisting of every single person in the area, in the urban area, within each of their households. We actually simulate people within households, and we build models that basically say, what are you going to do today? So we ask each agent, each person, each of our synthetic people, what activities are you going to participate in today, and hence where are you going to have to travel to participate in that. So these are the things we have to understand and represent in our models if we are then going to have any hope of predicting how people are going to behave in different situations. One of the things I really find interesting about the work is it's certainly not just an engineering exercise. It requires some level of understanding drawn from a variety of social sciences. So it has a bit to do with sociology. How do people socialize and form social networks? And how do social networks, your network of friends and family, influence your travel behavior? It certainly involves economics and we make tremendous use of microeconomics and microeconomic models of decision making. How people make, we hope, somewhat rational choices, trading off times and costs of different ways of travel. But it's also, I suppose it's a bit of anthropology and various things, because we really are trying to understand human behavior, which is a very difficult thing to do. So the work I do could go on outside of civil engineering. It could be going on certainly in economics and geography. There's people in a number of different disciplines who work in the travel behavior field. Certainly psychology. I mean, psychological models of decision making, how people perceive the world around them and respond to stimulus. So psychology, for example, is very important in this field. The hope is that the sorts of models we build and the sort of information we gather and understanding we build about travel behavior will lead to better decisions about the transportation system so we can build better cities. So the ultimate goal, the ultimate beneficiary, we hope, of the research, even though we're a bit removed from them, is really the people and firms that occupy cities, that we can make the city a higher quality of life place to live in. So we can build all the models we want, and we can generate all the evidence, and we can analyze all sorts of alternatives. But if the decision makers aren't going to pay any attention to that and are unwilling to frame the debate in a way that actually leads to real decisions that are useful and productive, then maybe I should find a different line of work, because it's not having the impact I'd like to see. My teaching responsibilities have evolved over time. For literally decades, I taught at the graduate level travel demand modeling, and at sort of the combined undergraduate graduate level transportation planning, which included thinking systematically about transportation systems, and included modeling components. I've also always taught a graduate course in what we call transportation and development, which looks at these broader questions of how transportation and urban form interact, and that has an analytical and a bit of a modeling component to it. Now at the undergraduate level, actually teaching a traffic engineering course, which is a whole other different kinds of analytics and modeling. Um, I think one of the challenges in the sort of research path I've taken is that it it leads to a very broad set of research questions that are all related and I think all tie together, but it doesn't necessarily follow the classic academic model of just digging very deeply and becoming the world's expert in a very small little area. I must confess I'm probably a bit of a jack of all trades in that I know a little bit about housing markets and a little bit about this and a little bit about that and a little psychology and a little this. I mean, personally, I find that attractive and refreshing, and I personally believe that a lot of the really interesting problems these days are interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary. They're at the intersections between different disciplines.